I've been a babysitter for a long time, and I've had my fair share of weird nights. But this one night, the night I'll never forget, completely changed everything. It was a quiet evening in the middle of fall. I was sitting in a quiet, well-off neighborhood with a couple of kids, maybe 8 and 10 years old, in bed. The parents had gone out for a dinner, and I was just hanging out, watching TV. The house was huge, older, with dark wood floors and creaky stairs, definitely the kind of place that gives off an eerie vibe. Around 9:30 p.m. the parents called to check in. I spoke to them briefly, reassured them that the kids were fine and in bed, and then hung up. That's when I heard it, a faint tapping noise coming from upstairs. It was a quiet tapping, like a finger gently tapping against the wall, rhythmic, almost deliberate. I figured it was the kids being mischievous. I called up to them to quiet down, but I didn't hear anything back. I decided to go upstairs and check on them. As I climbed the stairs, the tapping grew louder, more insistent. I approached the children's room and slowly opened the door. The kids were sound asleep, tucked under their covers, looking peaceful. No tapping. I was puzzled, but figured it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. I went back downstairs and resumed watching TV. The house was quiet again, except for the occasional creak of the floorboards above. Then, a few minutes later, the tapping started again. It was louder now. I grabbed the phone and tried to call the parents, but the line was dead. It had been working fine earlier, so this was odd. I tried again, but no connection. At this point, I was starting to feel uneasy. The tapping didn't stop. It almost felt like someone was pacing around upstairs, moving from one room to another. I stood frozen, my heart racing. That's when I heard something that made my blood run cold, a voice from upstairs, low and hushed. It was a man's voice, almost a whisper. "I'm coming down now." I froze in terror. The kids were still asleep and there was no one else in the house. I grabbed the phone again, desperate to call 911, but it still wasn't working. I felt like I was trapped in this house with whatever was upstairs. The tapping grew louder, followed by a soft scraping sound. Then I heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps coming down the stairs. I grabbed the kids and hid in the closet. I tried to keep them quiet, but I could hear the footsteps growing closer and closer. And then, a voice. It wasn't the man from upstairs. It was the voice of one of the kids, faint, whispering from the other side of the closet door. "He's right behind you. Don't move." I nearly screamed, but when I opened the door, the house was completely silent. No footsteps, no tapping. The kids were still asleep in their rooms as if nothing had happened. I didn't stay another minute. I ran out of that house, barefoot, and didn't look back. The next day, I learned the family had moved out. The new tenants said there had been a strange occurrence in the house years ago, a murder. A man had been living there with his wife and children before he lost his mind and killed them all. I don't babysit anymore.